It's been over a year now since I've had an AC coupled solar system or photovoltaic system, and I made projections as to payoff time, but that included a lot of assumptions. How much sun will you get? What's the right angle of inclination, etc.? Well, the bottom line is all I really care about is what did it cost me and how much does it return? So after a year, I've got 3,000 kilowatt hours out of the system, or 3 megawatt hours. The system cost me $9,037, but there was a tax credit of $2,349, bringing the total system cost to $6,600.87. No, 60. No, I'm sorry, $6,687.54. So, with that system cost in mind, and we know how much energy was produced by it, we can figure out the return on investment. So there's 5 scenarios here. You notice the column of annual value depends on how it gets used. The payoff column is in years, and the return on investment is in percent. This is based on the rule of 72. Very simple. It's a rough estimate, however. So let's take the first scenario. And that assumes that all the solar energy was used during peak consumption hours, which reminds me, I have to tell you that I'm on time of use billing now, which is really good because when I'm paying the highest rate, I also have the most solar. So that's not going to happen. All solar energy is not going to be used during the peak hours of 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. All other times are off peak. The second scenario is that most solar energy is used during the peak hours, and that is a distinct possibility if you shift your loads to that period. Third is all solar energy used during off-peak hours. Well, that's not going to happen unless you've got a battery, and I didn't include a battery. I have a battery now, but it doesn't really help me. Another possibility is all solar energy used during mixed peak and off-peak hours, which is entirely possible, even if you just let it run randomly. And the last possibility is all solar energy is sold to the utility for banking. Actually, they don't give you any money for the energy that you return to them. They do give you a credit worth half of what they charge you. So why would you want to give that energy to the utility if you can use it directly and offset retail values? So we can eliminate 1, we can eliminate 5, and we can eliminate the middle one. Can't happen because it doesn't have a battery. That leaves us with only 2 scenarios. And one is managing, returns a bigger amount than not managing. So that means you can pay it off sooner. Let's go to the chart. It's pretty. So here's all 5 conditions plotted. The range is from, what did I say? 11.1 years to almost 28 years is what it's going to cost, or what it's going to take to pay off that system. So that 28 years is unreasonable. That I didn't buy it when it was a 30-year payoff and the equipment life was 30 years. It wouldn't make any sense. So I waited for the cost of solar to come down before purchasing. I know that that's not going to happen. And I know that that's a possibility. That won't happen, and neither will that. So what we have is years to pay off with a $600 payout from the solar or savings. We can get under 12 years to pay it off. But that's not the most likely thing. You got to manage it in order to get that kind of return. So what we got is this one right here. That's the most likely outcome. And that means that We can pay the system off in about 12 years if we take the tax credit and keep the system at the right size. The reason I say the right size is because making the system bigger isn't going to help you. You can't use that much extra energy. So it doesn't make any sense to go big. Build the system for what you need, keep the price low, you'll pay it off quickly. Making it too small, that means the labor cost is going to be high compared to what you get. So you really want the system sized properly. Now, mine was a little bit different because I figured it a little bit different. I used the stimulus money from 2020 that brought the system price to $3,087. I still got the tax credit, so I used government money to get government money. And then I spent the 2021 tax credit on that too, and that brought my system cost to $287, which is paid off in about 5 months. Concerning management of energy, take a look at some of the other videos. You've got to divert that energy to something else, perhaps laundry when you have sunlight. Um, for me, charge an electric car, but only when the sunlight's available. I have surplus solar energy. And when I have surplus solar energy, I can heat too, but not so much during the winter months. But I have banked hours too, but I just as soon not send that to the utility because I may or may not get it back. And if I do, I'm only getting half of what it's worth. So is solar a good investment? Absolutely. That's a pretty good return. To pay it off in 12 years is, by rule of 72, a 5.8% return on investment. Tax-free. Not a bad deal.